Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weirdly Cosmic podcast for the Capricorn Full Moon 2022. I'm bringing this to you later than I normally do the podcast because I have COVID. I've had it for a week and it's the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life. I'm definitely on the up, but excuse me if my voice sounds intermittently very congested, and if I have to maybe pause to blow my nose too. But I'm definitely on the way out. So anyway, I am the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, Louise Eddington, the author of 3 books, Modern Astrology, the best-selling The Complete Guide to Astrology, and my newest book, The Complete Guide to Tarot and Astrology. So seeing as I've got this book in hand, I will show you that I have pulled a card for this full moon coming up, and the full moon is actually going to be on July the 13th, 2022, at most places in the world. It will be at 12:37 p.m. Mountain Time, my time, which is 11:37 a.m. Pacific, 2:37 p.m. Eastern, and 7:37 p.m. in the UK. That's universal time. Australia, everywhere, please, you'll have to do your own time zones. Anyway, I pulled a card for this earthy full moon because Capricorn is an earth sign, and I pulled the Ace of Discs, which is a generally positive card, but I did pull it reversed. And the Ace of Discs reversed is really kind of a warning about being ungrounded, and about the possibility of making or of having some caution regarding any financial decisions or some really unwise choices. So it's really a time to kind of have patience and take your time, which is very Capricornian with this. Now, other than that, the full moon itself, to my mind, has some great potential, but let's have a little look at the chart and then I'll go on to talk about it. Okay, so let me just get the chart up and share it, and then I'll come back and we'll just talk about the energy. So the full moon itself, the Capricorn full moon, is at 21 degrees 21 minutes of Capricorn, so it's a double 3. A full moon is always an opposition, so the sun is at 21 degrees 21 minutes of Cancer. On the Capricorn end, this lunation is only a shade over 6 degrees away from Pluto, and the moon and Pluto are what's called applying. They are moving towards each other. So I'm going to say this is conjunct Pluto. And um, the Pluto is at 27 degrees and 30 minutes, which means this is only 2 days after the second exact pass of the USA's Pluto return. And as other astrologers, that's using the Sibley chart, which not all astrologers agree on. But anyway, Pluto is experiencing its Pluto return in a big way right now, whether no matter which chart you use, to be quite honest, it's going to continue for some time. So I'm going to say this is affecting the USA in a big way, as if we didn't know that. And on the other end of this, the sun is actually conjunct Ceres in Cancer. This is asteroid Lilith in Cancer. I don't normally include her in the chart, but I am doing this time because I think she's been very much involved in this because of the attack currently on women's rights, which is going to filter out, by the way, beyond just the borders of the USA. And it's also conjunct Mercury, the messenger. So we'll talk about all of that together. Now, this full moon is also aspecting the nodes quite closely, really, by less than 1 degree, forming what's called actually a mystic rectangle. But it's deeper than that, because the closest exact aspect to the full moon is actually an aspect to Juno, which is our partnership, relationship asteroid, also rights of women and children, at 21 degrees of Pisces. And this is all these aspects are actually forming what's called an envelope pattern. Excuse me, which is actually quite a harmonious pattern, which is bringing smooth, it's said that to bring smooth transition from a struggle, a choice, a break, to clearing, bringing opportunities for showing initiative and innovating, to move beyond the struggle. So, you know, I do see some quite great hope in this, in all of this aspect. Did I even hit record? I didn't. Or did I? Oh, goodness. Sorry about this. My brain is clearly not working very well. I did. Sorry, COVID brain is real, and I am getting better, but I could not even sit at my desk last week. This is the first day I've sat at my desk since it started. So please forgive me for any kind of missteps. Anyway, so, you know, I'm finding a lot of hope in this, and I'll come back and kind of talk about all of that. But first, let's have a little look at the numbers, and that gives me hope too. So we have okay, this is 21 degrees, 21 minutes, the full moon, which is a double 3. And month-wise, this is, well, we're in a 6-year. It's actually a 4-day in a 7-month. And adding all of that up for 11, I did add, is actually an 8 universal day, which is giving us great strength. So I'm not going to talk about the day at much. I'm more interested really in this double 3, the 21, 21, the 3s. Then Juno is also at 21 degrees, so that's another 3 there. So I think 3 is really the most important number in this aspect, other than the fact it's on the 13th, which is the number of the goddess. So I'm always loving the number 13 when that shows up. But the number 3 is one of the 369 numbers, the number of creativity and inspiration. Number 3 resonates with optimism, joy, inspiration, creativity, imagination, humor, growth, expansion. Of course, everything has a shadow side, but the 3 also is the Empress Tarot card, so the divine feminine coming in there. The 3 is definitely also associated and connected with the ascended masters, whatever you choose to call them, or the ascended beings, I prefer to call them. And number 3 is generally a quite beautiful number that really brings a tremendous amount of creativity. However, if you look at the shadow of the 3, it can also relate to a lack of stamina and concentration, really kind of spectacular rises and falls and mania and mood swings, if you like. And that kind of brings me back to this reversed one. You know, this is saying if you don't get grounded and take it steady with this full moon, then you will not get the full benefits that are available of this kind of energy. You will not find this joy and happiness. This is not the kind of joy and happiness that you take big leaps. This is really getting grounded and feeling into it, and to really think and concentrate and not scatter your energies. So grounding, really, really important on this full moon. Okay. And so looking more back at the astrology, um, I find it very interesting. I talked a kind of a little bit about the moon applying to the conjunction with um, Pluto, and so there's definitely an air of deep emotional and um, and deep emotional transformation and rebirth, especially around our institutions and our relationship to our institutions and man-made laws in wherever we live, and the structures of our lives as well. That can involve literal buildings and so on and so forth. And um, I kind of feel like this is activating a lot of stuff that began back in January 2020. This full moon is only a shade away, a degree away from the mass conjunction that kind of launched the pandemic and launched the big shifts and changes that we have going on in our society throughout the globe and through our relationship to our society. And so everything that's been kind of digging in and happening since that time for you and for us collectively is kind of going to get an echo here and a revisiting. Um, so just think back, a little bit, especially because this is aspecting the nodes. I think it's taking us towards our future and asking us to really think about what sustains us, the North Node in Taurus, um, and what is sustainable. And there's probably going to be a lot going on here about financial decisions and financial commitment and so on and so forth. Looking at the other end of the full moon, the Cancer, the sun in Cancer, Cancer sun, very much about protection, safety, and comfort zones, and rebirth as well, or just birth, to be honest. And I find it really interesting that the sun is conjunct Ceres. Ceres and Pluto have a very intimate connection to my mind, because in the myth of Demeter and Persephone, Ceres being Demeter, um, Ceres was the mother, and Pluto or Hades was the one that took away the innocent, the daughter, and took her into Hades and fed her the pomegranate seeds that took away her innocence. So these two were kind of enemies that had to come to some resolution and agreement. In other words, to kind of share Persephone in some way. Then, and Ceres had to come to a great deal of forgiveness for the carnal desires of Pluto, Hades. And of course, this all represents our carnal desires inside ourselves, and that forgiving kind of energy that we need to forgive ourselves for where we um, given in to kind of very human desires, if you like. And Ceres and Pluto are about to oppose each other after this full moon. And why I think that's important on this full moon is that for a long time, all the planets, apart from the moon every month and a couple of minor bodies, have been on one side of the chart. Initially, through last winter, we had what's called a draconic bowl, where all the planets were trapped by the nodes. But since that point, as planets have been moving beyond the North Node, they've also been still in one half of the planet um, by an opposition to Pluto's polarity point. And Pluto's polarity point is generally thought to be our soul's desire in this lifetime. And soon, on this full moon, Ceres is moving beyond that Pluto polarity point. So I'm just going to quickly share the chart again to quickly show you the pattern. I don't want you to get too tied up in that, but you can see all the planets on this side of the chart, and Ceres is going to move beyond. Then the sun is going to move beyond, and Mercury is going to move beyond. And we're going to move from this very concentrated subjective energy, and we're going to start to find some objectivity. Okay, and an opposition itself is in itself an aspect of needing objectivity. Our oppositions are looking at each other. The sun and the moon are looking at each other on this. Pluto is looking at Ceres in this. All these energies are looking at each other. And we're really taking a good hard look at the structures we've created and how they work for us, for our lives, from birth to death, really, from cradle to grave. Reminds me of when the British, I wasn't alive at the time, but there's a well-known phrase about when we brought in the national health and so on and so forth in the UK, about caring for the collective from cradle to grave. And I'm not saying we're moving back towards that, but we're taking a good hard look at that, about how our structures are not working, about how easily, these Supreme Court judges are just taking away their rights now. Not so easily in a way. They've been playing the long game, which is very Capricorn, to move to this point. And now we have to kind of take a good hard look at this and really face it and really come to some balance and agreement. And as these planets all move beyond this on this full moon, we are going to start getting some more objective views towards it and start to be able to create something different. The threes, the vast creativity. All right, so I'm just going to take a little pause because I have sponsors. This is the last time I'll be talking about these two sponsors, at least for now. And I'm never going to take on two sponsors again at the same time. But that's okay, I did. And it was an experiment. I was asked to do this trial for sponsorships. And I actually love the products they asked me to sponsor, but I'm going to talk about my favorite one, and at the end I'll talk about the other one too. This is Susto. Susto is moon dust. It's called hair wash. This is powdered shampoo. It's absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And if for those of you just listening, it's Susto, Susteau. And it's in recyclable packaging. And look at the size of this. This small package is about 8 normal shampoo bottles. And it's powdered, so no liquid to go through CSA. It feels absolutely divine on the hair. I'm absolutely loving it. I'm going to keep buying it for my travels and for my personal use when I'm not colouring my hair. But so with my sponsorship, if you use the code COSMIC at Susto, is it susto.com? Yes, susto.com. I'll put the link in the show notes. If you use the code COSMIC, you get 15% off. But I don't know why nobody had ever thought of this before. Powdered hair care that foams up when you sprinkle it on your hand. You put water on your hand, sprinkle it about, not all in one spot, sprinkle it about, and then and it feels great on your hair. It uses less packaging. It's very eco-friendly, which many shampoos are not. This is just, to my mind, absolute genius. And well done, Susto. And I hope you'll all give it a try using my link, which would support my podcast too, because they will see that, my promotion brought some interest. So please check on the link in the show notes. Thank you, Susto, for introducing me to your amazing product. Oh, they also gave me a lovely hair clip with it too. But anyway, back to the chart. So I want to talk a little bit more about this pattern. So as I said, the envelope pattern itself is a very healing. We've got asteroid Lilith. I always think of asteroid Lilith as the talk to the hand Lilith. Lilith was the first wife of Adam, and asteroid Lilith is the only is really the only physical manifestation of Lilith, and she's very much conjunct on the sun in this full moon, and she, to my mind, she's been very active in a lot of the energies lately. I think asteroid Lilith is kind of like this. A teenage woman who was made equal and is not going to back down, is not going to go back, is not going to be. She says, "I am created equal, and I am taking my rightful place, and nothing that you do is going to say I'm not. I'm not going to be put in the corner. I'm not going to be controlled. I'm not going to submit to the patriarchy." Now, this is not just about men and women. This is about the entire energy of kind of the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And this rise in extremism that we've got of this patriarchal trying to grasp onto the power. And there's the Lilith energy saying, no, no, we were all created equal, as it actually says in, the US Constitution. But and we're not going to back down. This is going to apply to all of us, men, women, LGBTQ. Everybody is equal and has equal rights. And I actually do think in time that we are going to have the equal rights more encoded into law. But then again, I'm a Sagittarius with great optimism. And I think it's going to affect, globally. I think, this is kind of showing up. Some countries already pretty much kind of responded by tightening up their legal rights, by going, no, we're not going back. So I do have a lot of hope with all this, with Lilith being in there. Mercury, of course, conjunct the sun, is going to be very vocal about all this as well. So there's going to be a lot of speaking out about all of these issues. And then the aspect to Juno being the most exact one. Juno is really our partnership asteroid, and she is our partnership in Pisces with the collective, the collective cosmic soup of life, and realizing that we are all interconnected. Actually, yesterday, on July the 4th, I had posted a prayer written by a native American friend of mine that was absolutely beautiful, that talked about our interconnectedness. I'll copy and paste it actually in the show notes. And this reminds me of this Juno in Pisces. This is saying we need to come together as a collective and support each other and remember our interconnectedness. And the reason I actually love this this aspect to Juno being kind of the point of this envelope is that Juno is really the focal point of this healing. So I think there's going to be a great mood towards it, because I think people are being shocked that that we're not remembering our interconnectedness, that the rights of the Environmental Protection Agency can be taken away in the US, and people are just going to go, oh no, we've let this happen, and perhaps now we're not going to let this happen next time. Okay, again. So I think that's all I want to say about this. I actually find it to be a very beautifully healing full moon. The Uranus is coming up towards the North Node on the full moon, to be exactly conjunct the North Node right at the end of the month. We'll be looking at that more on the next new moon podcast. but we're starting to feel Uranus on the North Node, which is kind of getting a bit of um, a lot of a fear factor being put up there out there about it. But I think see the North Node as our potential, as what we're being pulled towards. And kind of see Uranus conjunct the North Node as being very much like, you really better wake up. If you don't wake up, then, we're going to be in big trouble. So I kind of have hope for Uranus kind of waking up here a little bit. So I hope I'm right. But overall, I see it as a very, very healing, very feminine, say, North full moon overall. Saturn is the ruler of the full moon, because Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is retrograde in Aquarius and is actually in a trine aspect to Venus in Gemini, who is the ruler of the Taurus North Node. So Saturn and Venus are in this little dance together in air signs, kind of thinking about how we need to move forward with what man-made laws we're creating for the future. So all of that. So let's look at the symbols. So first of all, I'm just going to read you the Sabian symbol, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my other sponsor. Then I'm going to finish up with the beautiful Chandra symbols. So the actual symbol for Capricorn 22, because we always go up, is by accepting defeat gracefully, a general reveals nobility of character. And the keynote is the realization that one may grow through defeat as well as, and perhaps more than, success. And he says, this is Rudyard, said that what matters most always is inner strength. And Capricorn is really inner strength, patience, time, and what we are learning from the lessons of time. So this speaks to that. And I think, the nobility of character of most basic humans is going to start coming through. And I love the fact it's kind of saying we're growing through defeat. So it may feel like we've lost at this point in our time as I record this, but how can we grow from that, and how can we make sure that this is turns into an achievement and success, rather than just giving up and saying, we've lost. All right, so my second sponsor is Fume. Now, I don't actually smoke, but I used to many years ago. And the biggest problem for me when I gave up smoking was the kind of mouth habit, and just, having something to fiddle with. Well, the people at Fume, this is Fume. If you can't see it, it's kind of a wooden little pipe thing. Decided that there had to be a natural alternative to smoking and vaping. And so they created this, so it's wood. So again, a very sustainable product. And Fume works by inserting what they call cores into it, which are completely natural and herbal and different flavors. The one I just picked up is lavender. And then there's white cranberry. There's peppermint there. That would be my favorite. Black pepper. Conker one's called. But anyway, you use these cores in here and just inhale on those, and you're just getting kind of a taste and satisfying this habit. Now, clearly I have not smoked for many years, so I can't tell you if it works for me personally. So I did give it to a friend to try, and they bought their own because they actually found it helpful. So I dusted this off so I can use it on here. But they said it's really helpful, and they are actually succeeding in quitting. So check out Fume, F-U-M, and Fume is offering with the code Cosmic, again, 10% off. And this is fume.com, F-U umlaut M, Fume. Okay, again, the link will be in the show notes. And the actual website is breathefum.com, breathefum.com /cosmic for your 10% off your entire order. Again, in the show notes. So give it a try, or maybe give it to a gift as a gift for a friend who would like to quit the weed. Best thing I've ever done, honestly, quitting. Pocket wise, health wise, everything wise. So let's look at the Chandra symbol for this degree, for this full moon. It's a bare altar covered with black velvet. Death is a force that brings into earth something from beyond, and this something is the X factor in the human equation. Your own previous deaths as major signposts which hold you to your noblest and most surrendered ways of being. Mortality has spoken. Immortality arises from the ashes. A threshold awareness that hugs the edge between the worlds and bows before a God who presides over the living and the dead. You stride across worlds in tune with myriad frequencies and are quite able to make way for the unknown, the infinite, the other side of life. A fiercely held intention to bow before what truly is and fall for nothing less, no matter how attractive or appealing. So if I could sum up this full moon with all of this, this is the message is on this full moon for no matter whether you're thinking of your own personal life or the bigger picture, it's to get very grounded, take your time and know that we can create from the ashes of kind of what's going on around us. And I'm hoping to send this to a certain person in my life who's got something major going on, because I think this is really relevant to that person. So think of who it's relevant for in your life as well, if not yourself, but collectively as well. I do see such potential for us to be able to move beyond the ashes of what appears to be all collapsing and to create something more sustainable, more in alignment with our collective values that supports us all. So from COVID world, it's goodbye. I managed to cope very well throughout that. I managed to avoid one coughing fit. My next time, hopefully I'll be fully recovered. Much love. See you next time.